Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
what's up,
There he
Benny?
is.
Like,
Lucky, lucky,
I was just
lucky.
buying time, Benny.
uh, good evening, good evening. How have we all been? There you go. Look at that. Not bad for an amateurly made gift. Everybody seen the latest update? Very well,
Yeah, it was
thanks,
damn exciting.
Emig Trader.
Yeah. It's yep. It's funny. I've got a response because we always get asked, oh, that's very nice of you, George 74. Thank you very much. We always get asked, I saw that ad and I understood it. I saw this ad. Okay. What's the target audience? What's the target audience? They're different. Things are all different. Thing is, we want the whole lot. Obviously, we're doing lots of different stuff, aren't we? So, just to answer that question, because I get asked a lot, we do focus 25 to 34 internet savvy, high internet users in Southeast Asia. Let's be honest, the technology is not developed enough to be grandma friendly as of yet, the whole space concerned. And ultimately, if we want to focus on digital inclusion and bring a lot of people in, there's a lot of progression that needs to happen prior to that. I know for myself and some of the guys in the team, being based here in Vietnam, if we're helping our families or wives' families or whatever, it takes quite a bit of explaining. And speaking of AAA games, I saw I don't know who was involved, but some of you might have been. There was the Star Atlas did the spaceship sale, and I was reading, pretty smooth, and people were saying it was a pretty smooth experience. And then I was watching a video. A couple of videos came out today. I think one of our guys did one as well. I gave it a little watch. And there you go. Metaverse Explorer. I think you did one as well. I haven't finished watching yours yet, but there's a few of them out. And I was thinking to myself as I was watching, how incarnations can this stuff be considered to be friendly for people that are not tech savvy yet? We're still a long, long way away, aren't we? But for those of us who have navigated the rocky waters of crypto, that stuff's all pretty straightforward, but not for people coming in, so it's not easy. Yeah, so XP, who is Mirror named after? So we're going to be bringing out some more of the lore and story, and also the LAW. That's the number one question we've sort of had since the video is when LAW. We've been very transparent on that, as we always are. We're waiting for a couple more legal caveat to come through. I'd be happy to talk about that for those who want to hear about it, but probably bores people to tears. It bores us to tears. But the fact is that, as stated since day one, we don't really want to be doing payment processing. Never have, never will. We want to set up the world, have the quartermasters help govern it, and we want to basically make it so that we're not, everyone talks about this utopian view of full decentralization. Whenever there's money involved, governments or people will get involved and try and police things. But what we want to do is we want to make it that we have as little intervention as we possibly can. And this part probably won't make us very popular, the next thing that I'm going to say, but we need to have some sort of a kill switch, right? In the sense that if you've got, I shouldn't say the brand names, but I'll just use a couple. I'm just using brand names in general. I'm pulling them out of thin air. Reebok and Louis Vuitton and these types of brands, they don't want to be having a building next door to someone who's selling child pornography or funding arms dealers or something like that, right? So you've got to be a little bit careful. So that's the part that makes it a little bit interesting. We have to be a little bit careful, but we don't want to be suffocating and over-policing and all the rest of it. Did I hear brands? Feel free to fire away. Actually, George 74, I'll tell you, and I think that it's fair for me to say, and I can say, there is a list of brands on the Void Cyber website, and a lot of people have astutely they picked up and they said, "Hey, these accounts are relatively fresh. What's the story here?" So just to reiterate for those who missed it last week, there's the guys have been around. The companies behind it have been around since 2011, and as I said to a couple of people, they said they should have big socials if they're into crypto. Never had to be. If you know the people that they deal with, and you're dealing with people like Kanye and Louis Vuitton and Reebok and all the rest of it, you don't really need to go out on social media and get 2,000 followers so that a brand thinks you're good or important. You know, you've got your circles and you know your people. So, but the thing is, as you've seen, their concept's really, really good, and that is to rotate premium brands through the space. So we thought that was fantastic because it's not going to be like you get one premium brand there. These guys can be responsible for multiple, and it is a problem because when you've got a lot more than 8 people that would want to come in over the course of time, or brands that say I missed out, the good part is they're going to have to buy if they want to shop for good. But the alternative for them is to be able to have someone help them set up NFTs, collectibles, wearables, avatars, and sell them through and in conjunction with these guys who know how to look after these big brands. So it's a very big win for us. Like I mentioned, he would like to see Louis Vuitton. I think everybody would, but Louis Vuitton's an interesting brand, right? They don't ever do sales. It's always primo. So I'd be really interested to see what their NFTs or whatever would be. I would guessing. I've got no understanding and I've got no idea. I would assume that an actual wearable handbag or clothing item would be much more akin to that. Maybe I need a nice handbag. Yeah, there you go. Sotheby's would be a great candidate for the Vault. I'll ask you guys a question. We found it. I don't know who was it. You, Pete, that put me onto it. I don't know who it was. Someone was talking about a couple of these NFT collections. One of them was called Janky Heist. And
that one is not me. I put you on a lot of collections, but that particular one is not me.
Yeah, so if you watch the video for it, it's got 2 like 3D, I don't know what they are, they're rabbits or something, going into a shop and trying to rob a toy store, and they get caught and it blows up and all the pieces get scrambled and they can't put the things back together again, and that's why you get different head to a different body to different legs. And that thing's run by it's also in conjunction with Christie's Auction House. So those guys have to be like extremely kosher about how they run things. Really well put together, really well choreographed, and zero action. There's been a few comments and posts on it about how if it's legitimate, it's probably not going to garner the same attention as a stick or an egg or a rock. Good luck with the first land sale, guys. Thanks very much. Actually, I'll answer that as well. We do have more and more people being interested from the buyer's perspective, asking how to do it. So I think people's main concern was, how do we enter the land sale? So we've now obviously started to bring out the guides and all the rest of it on how to enter. There's a lot of people asking how much they think it's going to go for, so they can organise how much RFOX to get. So that's going to be interesting as well. We, of course, don't know. Burberry went into Blankos. Yep. Vans launched their own Weld on Roblox. I haven't seen that one, Gralek. How's that gone?
I saw an article on LinkedIn, which I also tagged you in, by the way. But yeah, they have, in effect, a skating world where they're selling, I think they're selling skateboards and hats and stuff like that, which they can also use on there, I believe. But I haven't seen it in action yet.
Okay. Yeah, well, as you know, I won't mention the person's name, but there was a girl, a famous girl who has followers, and she just went out to market recently and said that she's going to be doing, a collection of NFTs. And then people said, "Where's it going to live?" And she said, "On the blockchain, which is in the metaverse." So I think people are just throwing these words around willy-nilly at the minute. But yeah, I'll check that one out, Grelic. Thanks. Can you say when we'll know the first brand of Void and the second marquee client will be announced? Yeah, so with the with Void, we're running a bit of a competition. So with these brands, we've explained this before as well. They go when they're ready, so we have to sort of wait. They take months and months and months, six months or thereabouts, just to negotiate a basic deal. So a lot of the work's been done behind the scenes. And then when we get to the point where we say we're ready to go, we have to see which one of them's ready to go. So it'll be interesting to see who they announce first, but they've already got a strong affiliation with a few. One of them I want to really be able to talk about, but all I'll say is one of them is very similar to the same style of, it's almost like you would think that they invented NFTs. Anyway, some of you will know what I'm saying, so I'm not going to say anymore. When are you running the VR headset competition? So we said that we'd do that before we let public in. So the RFOX IDs are being set up now as well, so it'll be in conjunction with the RFOX IDs. So we'll explain that shortly as well. There's just so much stuff that we have to tell you guys, and we're trying to hold back on as much of it as we can until it's actually ready, then we can show you. Because when you try and explain something verbally, we want to get out of that phase. Like, in the beginning, a company has a white paper and an idea, and then it's like years of questions, depending on what they're building. I mean, Cardano, for God's sakes, they've had to explain what their smart contract system is just in words and complicated whiteboard drawings for years. But the fact is, now that we're getting to the point where we can actually show you stuff, we'd rather just say, ta-dam, and then have you guys say, where did that come from? You should communicate better. I'd rather have it that way than I would to say, than you guys saying, oh, you missed your deadlines. What happened with that thing? But everything that we've talked about releasing, we're building, and it's a matter of how far away it is. And just one more on that. We've spoken to I've spoken to 3 projects already this week that want to go live on the NFT platform. And I know that there's some people here in the community that also want to launch stuff on the NFT platform. Pete, I think it's fair to say what we're trying to do is just onboard the first few clients, make sure it runs smoothly, and to be very transparent, and you can mute me if you want, Pete, we've built the NFT platform for ETH. We've built the NFT platform for Wax. What we're now doing is, I always say aggregation, but it's not actually an aggregation layer. What's it called?
It's called an aggregation layer, yes.
Rui calls it something else. Same letter, A.
Rui calls it a abstraction layer.
Abstraction layer. There you go. An abstraction layer. I don't know what the difference is. I thought it was 2 different things, and I'm retarded. But if it's the same thing, then
it's the same difference.
Okay. So for those of you who don't know and haven't heard, Pete, do you want to just give the 2-second synopsis on what an aggregation layer is? Because I always butcher that.
Well, an aggregation layer or an abstraction layer is basically a layer that hides the stuff underneath to what's in front. So, example, when you're surfing the net, right, doesn't matter whether it's ETH or Wax, you see the same UI. So you can, look at your KOGs collection, or you can look at your KOGU collection. You don't need to know whether it's Wax or Ethereum or, whatever chain, BSC, Matic. You don't have to know that because we hide it. And that way, it's actually that is very important for mass adoption. Because right now, every single market out there is saying, hi, I'm OpenSea. I'm only supporting ETH. We look like this. Hey, I'm Wax. We look like this. I don't care what you look like. I want to hide that.
Yeah, beautiful. Excellent explanation. Now, Pete's given you the
But let me ask
technical
you this.
explanation.
So Benny asked us a very important thing. I mean, Benny brought up a very important thing, right? Since we're on ETH, we're going to be deploying it on ETH and on Wax. Just a show of hands, or no, just spam the chat, right? What is the next chain you guys want to see? And I
Yeah.
just want, we're looking at it internally already. It's just a matter of whether, it ties back to whatever people think.
Actually,
Hey, Pete.
let's give him 5 minutes to answer that and have a think and come back to it. But just before Pete, Pete's given a great technical example. Now I'll give you the good old Benny retard explanation of the way my pea brain has to understand it, right? Think of it as an old CD player. So the bottom part's like the laser, and it can read whatever disk you put in, and each CD that you put in, one's Ethereum, one's Binance. It doesn't give a crap what chain you plug into it. It still plays it.
Does it hide the gas fees? Does it hide the gas fees as well?
Hide the gas fees.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll answer that, but I want to comment to Benny first. But Benny, you see, think about it. When we had CD players, you can't play DVDs, right? But when you
No.
got DVD players, you could play DVDs and CDs. But then maybe you can't play Blu-ray, right? And then when you got Blu-ray, you could play all three, right? See where
It's
we're
much
going?
simpler if you just say. It's much simpler if you just say one's classical music, one's rock music, and one's like death metal, and one's punk rock, because that's more than my pea brain can handle, mate. You're making it
Yeah, but
making
I'm a
it too
techie.
technical for me. Oh, Metaverse Explorer. I know I'm way behind. Metaverse Explorer, let me answer your question for you. I can have a stab at that. Yeah, okay, there's an error. I've manually checked all COGs. I have every Turk 24. COGs isn't recognizing one of them. I bet you any money, mate, you've tubed a set, and in that set, that Turk 24 was part of a set, because what happens is when you're looking at the displays on NFT Hive or any of those, it basically just says you've got it, so that set's complete. As soon as you put stuff into a tube, you realize, shit, I needed two of those, one for a rainbow set, one for another type of set. So you need two of some, most. Auction format question, please. Will second quarter sniper bids add time to the auction? Oh, well, last second sniper bids. Pete?
Nope, doesn't work. Bit early.
There you go. Yeah, because what happens, I think what they're referring to is that on a lot of the auctions on ETH, if someone puts a bid in like quarter of a second before it extends the auction for X minutes. I noticed there was
correct.
no...
So we are ending our auction following blockchain time. Not block, blockchain time. So the moment the blockchain clocks over that specific time in this millisecond, the blockchain won't be accepting your bid. So you will, basically get a bid error. That's how we're doing it. And because we're doing that, because we got staggered auctions.
Yeah.
Every hour.
Perfect.
Otherwise,
there was
you get
very
overlapping
similar
auctions
to
here and
like
there and all that.
eBay auctions. Then you only get to the last second, and it's that run up.
Yeah,
to the
exactly.
end.
Exactly.
That is correct. That is correct.
You know what? When I see stuff like, we're talking about complications and making crypto easier and all the rest of it, when I see that the person who puts a bid in the last 10 seconds extends the option for 10 minutes, I literally, because I don't understand the technical programming side, think these people don't know how to code. They've got this situation where it just keeps extending. Like, don't they know how to just cut it off? What's with the time limit?
That's the thing. That's supposed to be a feature, which irritates the hell out of me.
Correct. It's terrible. Do you guys know who has a shit ton of commons? Probably lots of us, mate. What are you after? You're trying to help new people get into COGs? If you are, I'm sure we'd be happy to put a bucket together. I'm trying to see. Okay, since there's only 9,900 NFT of Miss Universe, how many seconds will sale last by your opinion? Actually, George74, I'm going to go out on a limb and be the odd person out, and people are going to say, what the hell? And you know what? Sometimes people say, if you've been into the project for a while, you understand it, you got your head around it. Sometimes you get quite bullish about it, and people say, I don't want it to be an echo chamber. There's serious questions that need to be asked. Here's me putting the shoe on the other foot. If we accepted ETH as a form of payment, I reckon it would sell out so fast that it would do what every other one does, and it would just clock every system, and it would just be out of control. But because we're making people pay with RFOX, I think personally it will take longer. Might be 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I don't know. Might even be longer. But the reason I want to bring... Sorry, mate?
1 day.
Yes, it could be. The reason I want to bring that up is because I want to set the expectations and I want to make something very, very clear. The reason I say that is because people keep saying to us, why don't you accept RFOX? Why do you bring something out and then you only accept wax? Why do you bring something? And so what we're saying is, we hear you. We want the utility for RFOX. We're implementing the utility for RFOX. And then what people will say now, if it takes 15 minutes or 17 minutes, you watch. People will say, oh, week, the stick sold out in 30 seconds. They used ETH. You should have used ETH. And it's like, okay, guys. So the fact is, adoption for RFOX will pick up. There's more and more and more stuff coming with the play to earn. We've got a really, really, really freaking cool initiative coming up in Myanmar, which I probably shouldn't spoil. I'll give you a clue and you can work it out for yourself. There's a bit of a war going on over there. And if you give money, then and someone takes that money and goes and gives it to the resistance, big trouble in Little China. You're getting shut down. So we've come up with a way that we can not only plough ahead, we can actually increase our reach, increase the penetration, and actually do something that would be supported by all parties. Have a guess. Who's the clever cookie?
You're talking about a partnership with the existing controlling party.
No, if you do that, then the other side's going to get pissed off. You can't choose a side. You can't choose a side there.
Just putting them both against each other. Say you hate both.
No. You got to think about something that's common to both parties. What's common to both parties? What's something that all people share in common?
They love the
Wanting
internet.
money.
Toilet paper.
Yeah, that's true. Well, no, actually, certain parts of this region, it ain't. It's an optional.
Yeah, that's definitely optional.
Yeah, we use leaves in this part of the world.
Let's just say we're going to do some good for a lot of people. And people, again, I'm cool with it. I'll hear it. I'll wear it. I'll cop it. People are going to turn around and say, how does RFOX make money out of that? And I'm going to turn around and say, it's not all about making money. Sometimes it's about awareness. It's about doing good, and it's about doing something that that makes people want to learn who you are and what you do. So I have 2 wax accounts, one finish or set in the account, send it over the other account to Tube because I don't want to think that I've completed a set. Yeah, Artest, we had lots of talks about this between first and second edition, and when we started bringing out Tubes, it was us as well. I sat there and said, oh, crap, I've got half the sets I think I've completed and not finished, and I had to go back in and buy a ton of like double ups. Since we don't have the rights to the individual contestants for Miss Universe Philippines, what perks do the NFTs hold? So we have the rights to the production materials to turn them into digital collectibles and items and all the rest of it. We also have access to stolen footage, which doesn't mean we've actually stolen it. It means like candid moments and videos, and we've got some pretty cool stuff. It's the first year in the pageant's history where every one of the girls has to have an agent. So because they've all got agents, like management agencies, they can't do anything without the permission of their agents. So we've come up with something that we haven't announced yet that'll happen next week that is a clever little way around that. So when are we running the VR headset? I think we've answered that, haven't we? Closer to the time that it opens. What we want to do is make sure that we can take a guided group through and give people a really proper look through. You'll know when it's ready based on what we're releasing at the moment, but we've still got Friday, Saturday, some end of this week. We've still got like we promised you a walkthrough so you can see what shops look like, and that's what we will be doing. Where do you expect the main sources of revenue to be generated from, the gamers or products and services from the shops? If it, Marco, if it's only those two as an option and it's not any of the other things that we're doing, I'd say products and services from the shops. But I'd have to look at the Venn diagram later when we've got data to see how much of those purchases came from gamers. Build an RFOX water well. We can do that, Phantom. We've talked about, as a C-level group, we've talked about, and it hasn't been etched in stone, so I'm just talking here. We've talked about committing a percentage of all profits to those types of humanitarian causes, and we think that's extremely important. We've got to have a positive footprint in this region, and we've got to make sure that we give back. So we've already started our pursuits in those areas. Mate, I'm only human when it comes to completing COG sets. I'll tell you what, good old Skywalker, is he still around? I did a deal once with him. I broke a set so that he could complete a set. And he was quite upset that he couldn't get it. So I gave it to him. And I've never, ever been able to finish that set again because I can't buy that particular COG. No one puts it on the market. And then he said, I decided to sell that set. And I was like, oh, no. But I'll never finish that set, I don't think. Will we hear anything regarding RFOX Finance this month? Yeah, really soon. Getting very close now, mate. In regards to quartermasters, are they allowed to own a plot of land in the same quarter they're running? Very good question. No. You imagine that, mate. Imagine if you're the self-appointed sheriff of that town. The answer is no. Now, you might say, well, what happens if they use a different wallet, or they don't tell you that they own the quarter, they own the shop? That's why the law side of things takes us a while, because we've got to get legal terms and conditions. So what we basically say is that the person would either be removed from their position as a quartermaster, or that's the most logical one, removed as a quartermaster. Do you know what NFT they are buying when they buy? No. You know that, okay, so Phantom, you know that you're buying an NFT, but you don't know whether it's a more common one or whether it's a mythic and puts you in the running for... I'd be very interested to hear, I'm not going to mention it, but if you've been watching the post from Miss Universe Philippines, there's a few crowd favourites. Well, one Head and Shoulders crowd favourite. I'll be interested to see whether all of the public pressure or all of the public support for that person, which dwarfs the other contestants, will make the judges choose her.
That is bullshit.
It would be if it happens. What do you think? Do you think it will happen, Pete?
I don't know. I will fly there and beat the judges up.
I think it's a load of garbage, but, you know, elections, Duterte, Trump, all decided through social media.
Yeah.
It's very possible that it will happen. If you want to know her name,
and you know why I said that, right? So,
of course. But if I get that, if I get her mythic NFT, I'd be pretty bloody stoked. I won't be trying to trade that one off, because I'd think to myself, even though I don't think she's likely to win, I'd be thinking the public thinks she's going to win, so I'm pretty happy having this one. Will RedFOX Labs be releasing the revenue generated like a publicly listed company would? Oh, well, that's the thing, Artes. Most of what we do will be viewable on the chain, right? On chain. I think the more important question to that, Artes, is how? How would you report or release the revenue generated? Now, you might say, what the hell are you talking about? But how do you do it? Do you do it as we received 9 million RFOX, or do you do it as we received 9 million RFOX, which at the time that we reported, it was $8 million? Because if you look at KOGs secondary sales, we've fluctuated between we hit 13.5 million, 14 million. Then I don't know what they've done to their new calculations. It'll go back down and say 2.7 million, but it just fluctuates all over the place. I remember once we put out the tweet when we said we've reached $10 million of secondary sales. And then Wax crashed and a few days later, and someone turned around and said, "You've already done 6. You said you've done 10." And it was like, we had 4 days ago. Will the Miss Universe Philippines NFT include their social media information on the NFT? We also have another thing that we'll advertise closer to the time, Chauncey, but basically we're going to be promoting following a social profile on RFOX that will allow people to potentially go into the draw to win, and that will drive a ton of people to follow the profiles that have been set up on our platform. And if everybody's saying, what the hell is he talking about? That's new. There's a lot of new stuff. The amount of stuff that's going on at the moment is quite crazy. Grabbed a little more VFOX this morning while drinking tea out of my RFOX mug. Productive start to the day. You're better than the dude on the video, Joiner. He couldn't get a coffee. He had to get straight into it. He's a POM too. He probably whinged about it all day. Take it easy, Tiger. Love it. That is why you'll never trade with me. You don't give me cogs because you might not finish sets. Yeah, I get some hilarious. One day I should actually take a screenshot and send you some of the messages I get, the DMs, especially in Telegram, saying, would you at least have the decency to come back with a counter? Conflict of interest. Yep. One more foil plane. Sorry, mate.
Just reject them. Says I have the decency to reject you.
Oh, guys, I wanted to warn you about this. I don't know how you do it, but here's a COGS 101 thing that I just learned. I had no idea. What I do, if I'm transferring from my wallet to the vault, I get scared I'm going to send it to the wrong address, right? So what I do is I set up a trade offer so that I can accept it at the other end. That way I know I've got it right. I'll tell you what, there's a sneaky couple of people, we should share their addresses. There's a sneaky couple of people that wait for you to send the trade offer, and they put a trade offer. It must be a bot because it happens in like a second, shows in the same minute all the time, that shows that you get nothing, but it's got all of the COGs that you're sending to that person. I can send screenshots in the group here so that you can see what they're doing. And if you were in a hurry or you did it quickly or you weren't watching properly, you'd press accept and that person would get all your COGs.
Yeah, that has happened. We have issued PSAs about it.
Oh, you have?
All
okay,
the
so as long
high
as people know about
traders
it.
do that. Yeah, all the high traders accept that.
See, I've only noticed it on the weekend, but then I went and started checking through their accounts, and I noticed they're doing it to everybody, and lots of people have clicked accept. Lots.
Wax did pretty good with the first ones. They were actually IDs like Atomic, Wax, and things like that, where it looked like it was almost an official wallet name to be a part of the transfer. Those wallets got shut down, but they had a couple that were just real similar to like Atomic Pools and things like that. So they've been refining their technique.
It was OWND.wham or something like that. And I messaged Atomic Hub about it, and they said they couldn't do anything because it was all public and you can see everything on the blockchain anyway. So I was like, well, great, thanks for your help.
Yeah, so that's the interesting
Welcome
thing.
to the world of decentralization.
Yeah, but that's the interesting thing. Like, I've gone back to Wax with a couple of those problems to Wax themselves, and they've said, there's not much we can do because we're not supposed to contact these people. We've got their email addresses, but we're not supposed to contact them. So don't know what you want me to do. And I was like, fucking use the email address, contact them. But yeah. So what ad did you like best? People are answering that. I don't know if this has been answered already, but will quartermasters be announced before land sale? We're working through that now, madame. We're trying to work out and get a little bit of ascertain better whether, like, how much work needs to go into their roles. Like, for example, we're still not sure how many people it will take to govern each quarter effectively, but we're getting a better idea now. So I would say it's almost definitely not going to happen before the land sale, but we need the quartermasters on and learning the ropes well before the world opens publicly. So we have to hustle. But at this particular point in time, we're doing one thing at a time, making sure that we're getting the next stage or the next link in the chain finished and out. So you picked up on that, Pete. 9 million RFOX, $8 million. I didn't think anyone would pick that up. Okay. Yeah. XRFOX from US dollars in sales. Yep. It's going to be interesting how well, the interesting thing about that bird account is that depending where you are, we'll ask you to report it differently. Because especially if you take a currency and you sit on it and don't convert it. So even when you're doing financial projections, the accepted norm in the industry is if I've got 1 million tokens, then I might report that value as being 10% lower than the current market value. So that's a safe assumed place that I can sell for. And then if I held that million over the next 4 years on my books, I would project an amount of growth based on the customer growth and revenue growth. It's just all garbage, just pulling numbers out your bum, isn't it, really? In the article, had a bit on RFOX shops, you warn bidders to be wary of fake websites and be wary of phishing scams. I think all are already wary of them, but yeah, it's interesting you say that because some of the top ranked sites on Google, actually, I've seen it many times, and I don't know if it's just me noticing it. It's like when someone says, I bought a new car, and you go, what car? And they go, a yellow Volkswagen, and you say, I've never seen a yellow Volkswagen, and then on the way home you see 10 of them. But I've noticed that these guys are getting good at making the top searched result. They get the fake website above the real website. And forever, I've always just clicked on the first thing that comes up, right? Thinking that has to be the one. And only in the last year, I've been caught a few times going into a fake site, and I've gone, what the hell's this? Terry, you can't seem to get better playing the game. Any progress just seems to be also random. I had the opposite, mate. I started off like an absolute lunatic on fire. Couldn't get beaten. Thought this is the easiest game I've ever played in my life, and now I can't win one, but I'm getting better. What I realized was, I'll ask you the question, guys. Every time I'm playing someone, they put the cog in the middle, then they take it up to the side a little bit, then they go back to the middle but up high, and then junt off to the right corner and then go down or whatever. And I think, is that just to put me off? Is that just to show so that I can't tell what your angle or your trajectory is? Because I just go straight up to the top corner with only just enough cog left that my finger can actually pull it back in, and then I go slam.
The stream of seeing the other person's motions for what they do with the slammer is not a continuous stream. Usually what you're seeing is like a snapshot about every 3 seconds of what they're doing. We've been paying attention when live streams happen, like with the Friday with Fads. When I was playing, I could watch on his screen, and it doesn't show what I do with it. It's like a snippet every 3 seconds of where the cog is and how fast it's spinning. So I think it's either the stream can't handle showing it, or they're doing it deliberately so you can't see the other person's pattern and how they're doing it.
Right. Will the Miss Universe NFTs be able to be used in the Vault metaverse or any future COGS games in the future? Well, being honest, we talked to Miss Universe Global, and they were very keen to see what we could do from a utility perspective. But I don't think it's any big secret. Miss Universe, the overall thing went on sale last year. Well, they're trying to sell it. But the Miss Universe Philippines is like the one that grows. Some of the other audiences have dwindled off a little bit, but theirs have grown and grown and grown. But we did begin discussions on how we could get the NFTs into the vault and what we could potentially do, but it was not as exciting as some of the other options, to be honest. I've got a question for you. In the auction, let's assume that you are all going to buy, knowing that the first shop goes on sale and an hour later, the next shop goes on sale. So you know it's staggered, right? All of you. If you don't know that, make sure you read up on how that works. But let's just say first shop goes on sale for an hour and then it's staggered. Do you think to yourself, two questions. A, I'm not going to bid on the first one because it's probably going to be a bit of a frenzy because everyone's going to want the first shop. So I'll wait for a latter shop. And that way I can sort of see how the prices are going and what the bid levels are, because if the bid levels aren't strong, I might be able to get the 10th one or the 12th one and pick it up for a bargain. Or do you think to yourself, I'm better off to try and secure the first one because to make sure that I'm in? And as a result of everybody bidding on the first one, do you think the first one is going to go for ridiculously higher amounts than any other one? There's a lot of questions for you. It is, Josh. It's a pretty yes move. Here we go. Here's the answers. First shop will be price floor. You reckon, Bertican? That's an interesting theory. You're going to bid to drive up the sales price, to drive up the price, so that the one that you buy is worth more, Josh? Is that what you're saying? No precedent will be set on first. So, Hash, you're saying no, the precedent will be set on the first, or no precedent will be set on the first? Can you cancel bid once bids have been placed, though? No. So the question is, what's your buying strategy? Not really. It's more, I'm not trying to pry into people's buying strategy. I'm trying to more see, like, I'll tell you why I say that. Because one of the groups that we were talking about that is looking at buying multiple shops said that they believe that the first individual shop will be worth more than any shop ever sold once they've all been sold, regardless of what they went for on the secondary market, because it's the first shop, which is probable. But they also said,
right?
Yeah, and they also said based on every other metaverse or land sale in history, if you apply the same rules, the Genesis quarter will inevitably sell for the cheapest average block price or shop price, but will be the most expensive shop prices on the secondary market by a significant amount. Wouldn't that depend on where the shop was located and the amount of traffic generated? We don't know yet, Marco. We speculate that it would be. Metaverse Explorer, is he still here? He did a video the other week. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's pretty bloody insightful. That dude puts in a fair bit of research and time into stuff. He was talking about the shop doors facing the main thoroughfare versus the shop doors facing the opposite way. And it even made us go back and say, hey, those gaps between the shops when you're walking with your VR headset, are you going to be able to cut through the middle there so you don't have to walk the whole way around? Can I kind of squeeze through the middle? And we had a bit of a joke about how it depends how fat you are. Do you think everyone who is participating has already accumulated the RFOX they will use to bid? Not all of them, Phantom, and I'm being very honest when I say this. We've had everything from can I use bidders on my behalf? I need to play it by ear. What if I want to buy it on the day? And our concern was, what happens if there's not enough liquidity in? I actually mentioned it to one. I said we've talked about what if there's not enough liquidity in Uniswap, and they said, "Duh, I just buy it on KuCoin." And I was like, "Oh yeah, shit, I forgot about that." First one's going to be the big boy. Yeah, could be. I think it could be as well, to be honest. But if it made the first one really expensive because everyone was trying to buy it, it'll be interesting to see what the drop off to the second one is, or whether the first one causes that to be a price floor. I mean, I think there won't be a cheaper shop than the first one. That's possible, Hash. That's a very possible thing. That's what I was thinking as well, but I'm kind of getting told that might not be the case. That the first one might go for more expensive and you might pick up one out on one of the wings or the flanks for a cheaper price. Who knows? Got no idea how this will work. Yeah, Metaverse Explorer. His stuff's pretty good quality, actually, to be honest. He's just starting out and he's obviously new to it all, but he's most people that are new to it all, I did the same thing. I used to get out there and just rap what I knew. This dude is thoroughly researched. Remember that? BitLords Binance thing? That was hilarious. But he goes, the hack's out. Everyone's photos got leaked. Here's mine. The last one might be the big one, is it? Is the last chance. That's also possible, Phantom. All right, I'll ask you one more question because we're getting close to the top as well. We've all bought NFTs, or we've all bought into land sales, or we've all bought into some ICOs or something before. What if the price of one of them, and they're successful and they're doing well, and the price of it goes a little bit over? How many people do you reckon are going to top up and go and buy RFOX? Or people might think that they're going for cheaper than their budget and end up deciding to grab a couple more. Yeah, that's the other thing, Hash. Big boys know about the shop sale. They're just not talking about it. We know that's a fact as well. Very much. There is people that, well, I mean, we're all talking to different people, aren't we? It's unlikely that they're all the same people. Either way, it's going to be pretty exciting, and we all know that between first and second and third and fourth quarter, there'll be more and more momentum and more advertising and marketing. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out, especially when people start getting in there and decorating their stores and all the rest of it. Pete, what was the chain? Did anyone say their chains or not? I didn't see it.
They listed a bunch.
I never
I
saw
think
them.
the winner is Princess Chain. Pretty interesting bunch of answers. And of course, most of them have NFTs. Obviously, if anyone said Bitcoin, then
Okay, we all know Phantom will win, but only 4 billion. You know what's going to happen? It's going to be bloody Gralek, isn't it? Gralek, what's going to happen when the land sale starts? What's your claim to fame going to be? He's not here. You know what it's going to be, Pete?
the winner.
Gralek would have bought the cheapest shop ever sold.
Oh, that's a given. He'll go in. He'll say that, okay, I like this shop, and he'll bid on it, and no one will outbid him. And he'll come on Discord and says, "Hey, guess what? I got the cheapest plot of land."
But that's what'll happen. What'll happen is we'll look at the results, helicopter view of the map, and the public will say, "What the hell happened with that one? Why is that one 45% lower than all the rest?" And it will say, "Owner, Gralek." If you don't know what I'm talking about, or that doesn't make you laugh, and you haven't been around for very long, that dude is a vacuum for fat fingers. He's got like a fat finger bot set up. What about the roller coaster in the vault? You notice how we threw you off there? There you go. How much awesome will Scott Bolton bring to the RFOX ecosystem? Would you like me to just tell you really quickly as we finish off on that, Artis?
Okay. Calm down, Benny.
No, I can say this. The dude is seriously connected to a lot of cool people, and he's going to bring a lot of cool stuff that we haven't talked about yet to the project. But he's extremely passionate about the education side of things. He's extremely passionate. The thing that got him, because obviously, you can imagine that project was highly sought after by a number of chains and projects way bigger than ours. And the guys from Void Cyber did a really good job of bringing that to us and convincing him to come through us. But the thing is that he's an extremely passionate dude about passing on his knowledge, teaching future generations, sharing what they've learned, and he's just genuinely excited about space and all the rest of it. So the opportunity to have a planetarium so that he can do lectures, talks, introduce other astronauts and programs and all the rest of it was a huge selling point. And I think you're going to see some pretty exciting stuff there. Good to see some Filipinos here. Fantastic. Yeah, so big stuff. Yeah, Scott's not a type of guy that does things in small amounts, as you can imagine. And I think that it's pretty safe to say that his foray into this world of crypto is not going to be something that he thinks, I'll just do it half-assed. That guy doesn't do anything half-assed. I think it's going to be pretty good. Not Thursday, Phantom. We're likely to have, as I was saying earlier, Friday or Saturday, Friday or Saturday we'll show you the walkthrough. We're just waiting for the assets and stuff to be loaded. So it'll take a few days from now. How's that? And the last one,
Benny, I got an interesting story to tell Phantom. When Phantom asked how's the advertising for the auction going, I was brushing my teeth this morning, and my son rushes into the bathroom saying, "Daddy, while I was playing my game, I saw your VR game that you were building on my ads in my game." And I'm like, damn. Okay, it's all over the place. And yes, I got friends reaching out to me saying, "Hey, I saw your ad while browsing YouTube, or just on the phone or some app somewhere and all that." It's all over the place right now. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's great. But Phantom, very honestly speaking, answering your question of how's it going, is the word spreading or is it mainly the community? I've had several people say, and you know what? This hurts us, but I'm going to be just honest and say it because it would probably piss a few people off. But we've had several people come back and say, you just tell me how much it's going to cost and I can just give you the money. I can buy one right now. Tell me how much it's going to cost. I'll give you Ethereum or Bitcoin or whatever. I don't want to sit there for buying RFOX for 72 hours or whatever. Just tell me how much it costs. I want to buy it right now. Make it easy for me. And the thing is that's not fair to RFOX holders. It's all on chain anyways, the auction. And that's the easy way out. And that's what many projects would do. They'd say, let's just take that, give them their shop, and people will understand. So a couple of those people might not end up bidding as a result of them thinking it's a little bit too hard. And they'll probably watch on and who knows, maybe join in the second or third quarter. But the fact is, I've made an obligation and the team's made an obligation to increase the utility of RFOX and make sure that we're promoting the use of RFOX. And we're doing this the right way. We're not doing any pre-sales, OTCs, anything like that. So that's our commitment to you. And if it means that we get 5, 10, 15, 50 less people involved in the auction, stiff shit. We're pushing RFOX. We're making sure that bites, and we're making sure that people get used to using RFOX. So that's the promise we made.
Guys, heard it here, folks.
And I'll be honest, when someone comes along and says, I'll give you, I've got $1 million to spend, and there's a lot of these people that have just got ridiculous amounts of money that they've made out of NFTs. We invest in every metaverse. Here's $1 million. Buy assets or buy 5 places. We're being very mindful to say not until the auction starts, and you can buy. So it's important that it's done the right way. All right, so I'll let you go. Have a fantastic night. On that one, Phantom, Let's hope so. We'll hope so. See what we can do. Have a fantastic night there. Thanks, King of Cogs. Speak to you next week. And next week, yeah, we'll do it. We'll definitely dial into the live auction and watch it together. Maybe we'll do something special for it. Have a
Benny,
great
I'll
one,
live
guys.
stream my bit.
Take care,
I will
Benny.
live
Thank
stream
you.
my bit. Yeah.
No worries, guys.
Discord.
Enjoy your PGen.
Thanks, Benny.